Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I am going to be doing your August 2021 full moon reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be listed and linked in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, I want to apologize for my voice. I am getting over the flu, so bear with me. Let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aquarius. How will Aquarius be affected by the August 2021 full moon? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. At the bottom is our rooted self. The left-hand side is our inner self. The middle, our heart, our emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what the cards have to say. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Everything is changing during this time. We have the Chariot, which is Cancer energy. If we have Cancer within our natal chart, this is coming through very powerfully within our rooted energy. Now, in our inner self, we have the High Priestess, the Magician. Oh my gosh, I love this. And the Star. What's really special about this, they're all major arcana. And I know you're thinking, Dane, so's the Root. The Root is just a major arcana deck. That's why it's so tiny. Here, we have all major arcana cards coming up. We have ourselves coming forward. We have the Magician. We have the High Priestess. These two go together and complement each other brilliantly. Why I'm so excited is because the full moon is in Aquarius. The planetary alignment of this time is extraordinary, which is what we're going to be going through very shortly. And it's just like inwardly, blessings come. Inwardly, blessings come, and you are elevated almost to another place, another time. It is really, 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 really great. We then have the Magician. Not the Magician. We have the Lovers, Gemini energy. We have the Seven of Swords. Okay. We need to take certain things, leave certain things behind. That's going to be intrinsically important emotionally during this time. And we have the Hangman. So with the Lovers, with the Gemini energy, if we have this within our natal chart, this is going to come through very profoundly in our emotional self, the way that we emotionally deal with things. We have a lot of air sign energy coming forward because we are the air sign energy. As an Aquarius, we have Gemini. We have Cancer, which is water sign energy. We have the Hangman. We don't see things the same way as everybody else. We can kind of blame ourselves for that. We can think, what's wrong with me? Why don't I see things the same way as other people do? What's holding me back? What's keeping me from the place that I want to be? So do be mindful there. We have the Knight of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. The new moon on the 7th of September is in Virgo. So that is going to come through as a king's energy, as a monarch's energy for our public self. And that energy, again, is like this moon, this full moon, this new moon, this combination is extraordinary. And it's like once in a lifetime that we see. We have the Queen of Swords, that's us in the Minor Arcana. It's coming forward, it brings us to the Devil, and that's Capricorn energy. But that is also the sense of, I'm breaking these ties. We see the Queen of Swords holding the strings right here. Why that's important is I always see the Devil as the puppet master, the one who's pulling the strings. And now it's going to be us, ourselves, who are pulling the strings, who are looking at things in a different light, in a different way, who are breaking the ties of addiction and hurts and pains and disappointment, and really claiming a power that we might not have thought got to be ours. We could have thought, okay, that this gets to be everybody else's, this gets to be other people's blessings. I just have to trudge along. No, it's time to open up the blessings for ourselves. This brings us to the power of the full moon. The full moon always tells us that we need to surrender to the divine, because that's where power lies. We come face to face with our conflict of the desires, our wants versus our needs, our our home lives versus our work lives, our school lives. So this is going to be a time where we're really becoming aware of the conflicts that are around us, because the moon highlights them. Also, the moon increases our intuitive and emotional understanding, meaning we become a lot more aware of the energy that is around us. It brings us to the full moon in the Aquarius, which says, show the world the real you. And Aquarius, that is one of the things that we struggle with, that we are called to, but then we doubt ourselves and we think, oh my gosh, maybe I'm just being a little bit too much. Maybe I need to calm it down a bit. No, this is the time where we say, if I'm coming from a place of love, of light, of positivity, if I'm raising the energy vibration of myself and the world around me, if I'm shining bright with the light of this moon, but with the light of myself, and the reason why I'm here, I'm that candle in the dark, this is going to be the way that we move forward. This is going to be a powerful, powerful change of events. And we're saying, this is me. This is what I want. This is what I desire. This is what I need. I'm showing the world the true me. I'm showing the world who I really am and where I really want to be. Now, the full moon is going to be conjunct Jupiter, which brings optimism, generosity, good luck, and success. I mean, what better things can you have coming your way? This will bring opportunities for personal, spiritual, and material growth. All of a sudden, we start to see opportunities coming our way. New ideas start to sprout in our heads, and we think, why not? Why not open up this door? We have to take them. We can doubt ourselves. We can hoard our abilities. We can say, okay, well, I just have to wait till everything's perfect, and oh my gosh, that's going to be hard. How can I, move forward the way that I really feel like I need to? We have to not talk ourselves out of blessings, because there's this feeling of happiness and contentment around us. We almost think like, this will always be here. I can always come back. I can always embrace this positive energy. I can always embrace my dreams and my desires. But this is a time where kind of like the stars align, the planets align, and we start to see ourselves more powerfully, more openly, more honestly. Now, with Jupiter during this time is also going to be opposite the sun. And with the sun being opposite Jupiter, or Jupiter being opposite the sun, it really brings us this sense of over-optimism. We start to kind of think things are better than they are. That's going to lead us to arrogance, or it could lead us to arrogance. We have to be mindful of arrogance and ego, really trying to overpower everything for us during this time. This is also a time where we need to remember to be thankful and to record our blessings, to acknowledge our blessings. Even if it's just something little like, oh, well, while I was, checking out at the local, convenience store, the clerk smiled. The person in line said, you know what, you have less items than me, you go first. All of a sudden, we're looking at the little blessings and we're taking them and we're holding them within our hearts. We're acknowledging them. If we have a gratitude journal, this is the time to start using it, or to keep on using it. This is a time to acknowledge our blessings out loud, written down, however it's more comfortable for for you as an individual, being able to embrace that. Now, Venus is going to be trine Saturn during this time, which is ideal for finding love and commitment. Relationships benefit from a steady, sensible approach to love, which doesn't sound very romantic, to stay steady and sensible, but it is going to be romantic. It is going to be a sense of, it's not going to be the wall of roses type of thing, these over the top gestures that everybody looks at and goes, wow. But it's like, I'm making myself a cup of tea. Would you like one? I'm getting myself a sandwich from the corner deli. Would you like one? Those type of things, excuse me, are going to be so important. And that's going to be part of how we show love at this time. We also have to remember that maybe the way that I show love and the way that you show love, they can be different. The way we show love and the way the people around us, they're all different because we're all different individuals. And we have to acknowledge that and respect that. Not thinking, oh, well, this is why I would do it, so that's definitely going to be why this person did it. Having conversations, being opened, this is going to be a time where we really can embrace that and should embrace that if we're in relationships, if we're looking for new relationships, just in any relationship that we're in, even, with our pets, it's kind of like, okay, well, why are you doing this? Let me look at it kind of through your eyes, or let me start researching and watching videos on this so that I can better understand. Now, during this time, new romances can bloom in the most unexpected ways, so keep an open mind. You can find your soulmate during this time, or strengthen the bonds that you have with your soulmate. You can also, if you're looking at this and saying, Dane, I don't really think I could find my soulmate in such a short period of time, that seems unreasonable. It could be quite unreasonable. And if you don't find your soulmate during this time, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we're aligning ourselves to be able to open up that door, to say, it's time to call my soulmate in. It's time to call love in. It's time to fall in love with my life and what I desire, and really move forward strongly and powerfully. For those of us with existing romances, we start to see new closeness, and we start to see greater connections with our partners. And that's going to be something that's really quite big. Now, with Mars being trine Uranus, this brings initiative, excitement, and adventure. This is a time where we need to embrace freedom. Our abilities to go for adventure need to be acknowledged. Even if that adventure is just a mental adventure between the pages of a book, on the movie screen, wherever it is, we need to embrace that. It can also be a new business idea. It could be a sense of, wow, I always wanted to write a children's book. Now I'm going to write a children's book. Or I always wanted to learn how to animate. Now I'm going to learn how to animate. Just things like this, where we start to say, why not? I always wanted to learn that type of programming, that software. Why not open up the doors? This is an astoundingly lucky time. Make it work for you. There's a strong instinct here towards the daring. This is a good time. This is a really great moon for taking risks, but we have to be smart about the risks that we take. So being mindful about our risks and the way that we're putting ourselves out there is going to be absolutely beneficial. This time will also increase our passion in our relationships and our lives. So let it shine. Aquarius, we have the star coming in, right? We have ourselves coming through as Aquarians, but we also have this beautiful connection with the full moon that it sings to us. It sings to us in a way that others will not be able to comprehend. It brings us to the new moon on the 7th of September, and this full moon is on the 22nd of August. This says here, as always the new moon does, it says a new start is coming. Beginnings are opening up. We are seeing ourselves move forward. It is a time to give rather than to take. And that can sound almost like a scolding, but it's not. It's time to give of our energy. It's time to give of our passion, our wants, our desires, rather than taking all that we can and thinking, well, one day I'll lay out my gifts. One day I'll embrace my blessings. One day I'll see myself for the worthy person that I am. It's no longer one day. It's today. Embrace it, embody it, be emboldened by it, and open up the door. This is an exciting new moon. The new moon is going to be trine Uranus, which is extremely powerful. It brings rapid and positive change towards freedom, but it also brings freedom. So we're going to see ourselves having this burden lifted from our shoulders. We're going to see ourselves being able to break free from the restraints and constraints around us. This is going to make us feel like new things are possible. Like we can step out of our comfort zone, like we can embrace an adventure or a new innovation, a new idea. And this is the perfect time to do so. This is the perfect time to say, I'm stepping out of the box. I'm going towards my dreams. I'm going towards what I desire. Even if it's just, setting everything out, even if it's just, thinking and building and gaining an understanding, that becomes powerful. This is a perfect time for widening our social circles, widening our circles of understanding. It's kind of like, I always thought this was the sphere of what I could do, right? We think of it as a circle, but now I'm going to break that open. Now I'm going to see myself being able to do so much more. There's a harmonizing aspect to Uranus, which enhances, which enhances our intuition and brings flashes of insight for us. What this means is that if we are seeking to be a more intuitive being, with the harmonizing aspect of Uranus, the door is opened. We can call forward our intuition. We can call forward our psychic abilities. We can call forward our insights into things. It is the best time if you want to pick up a deck of tarot cards, if you want to start throwing the runes, if you want to start, just even connecting with spirit and saying, Spirit, help guide me, help me understand and traverse the land that I am on, the reason why I'm here, the place that I should go, the door that I should open. We'll start to hear if we listen, if we're ready to hear. We will start to hear spirit responding. And what this does is this brings us to a place of heightened instinct and understanding. It brings us to a place where the energy that was stumping us and holding us back is shattered. And we start to see ourselves being able to conquer what was holding us back, what was denying us. This is a time for our gifts to shine. And with this new moon, it's almost as if the light of the new moon is within us. And we get to shine. We get to shine with our passion, our power, our insight through the moon. And this moon blesses us in a way that it will take a little bit to be able to understand. It will take a little bit to find our footing within it. Now, on the 20th of September, we have the full moon in Pisces. And this says, balance the spiritual with the practical, with all the blessings that are coming in, with everything that we can get done, with everything that we want to achieve, with the feeling of contentment and happiness that we have. Now it's time to balance ourselves so that we can move this forward. We can take this energy and say, I'm going to build it. I'm going to incorporate this within my life. I'm going to open up the door. I'm going to empower myself. And this leads us to a time where we're called for balance. We're called to balance our greater understanding. Now let's see the energy that we have to be mindful of during this time. Angels and spirit guides show me clearly. And it's the star, which is hilarious because, again, this is us. We have to be mindful of getting in our own way. We have to be mindful of becoming complacent within the blessings that are around us, thinking, okay, well, this will always keep on moving forward. I can always be empowered by this momentum. No, now is the time to harness it. Yes, we can always come back to this energy. We can always come back to this time and say there's beauty and there's power and there's insight within me. I am utilizing this in the highest. But we also have to be mindful of the ego taking hold. We're also going to be very drawn to people who see our dreams, people who talk in that right way, to be able to kind of inspire us, to be able to, for us to say, well, if they can do it, I can do it. But they talk to our dreams. Unfortunately, they don't have anything to back it up. They're going to be the people who see our vulnerabilities really easily and exploit them. So we have to be mindful of this, the corruption of the dream, because it's their dream to corrupt. It's their dream that they are fully focused on, not ours. So we have to be mindful of who we trust and who we don't, and why we don't. Not because we're a bad person, not because, we're being arrogant or hurtful or spiteful or anything like that, but because I'm balancing the scales. I'm balancing me. I'm balancing the waters of inspiration that are guiding me forward. It leads us to our chakra energy. Angels and spirit guides show us clearly. And we have two right here. We have the Sacral Chakra and we have the Heart Chakra. So with the Sacral Chakra, it says relationships. It is telling us here to embrace close, personal, powerful relationships. Embrace what we love. And these relationships aren't just romantic relationships. They are the relationships that we have with people in general. It's seeing the divinity within them, or just seeing the humanity, seeing the spark of goodness within them. And being able to project ourselves forward, being able to move forward in the way that says, I see the blessings within me as well. And so with the Sacral Chakra, it's where our creative and sexual energy is held. But it's a tricky chakra because it's also where our negative energy from this life and past lives is held. So we're going to be shattering the old relationships that we've had through trauma and drama from this life and from past lives. And it moves us to the heart chakra. It moves us to the energy of forgiveness. And when we embrace the energy of forgiveness, it's not simply forgiving others, which can seem rather magnanimous. Okay, I forgave the person who hurt me. That's one thing. But to be able to forgive ourselves for being hurt, for being taken advantage of, for being too young to do anything, for falling in love with the wrong person, for trusting the wrong person, for feeling like a fool. This is something that people don't always talk about, because forgiveness of another is something that our world very much values. You're supposed to forgive other people, but they never talk about, what about you? What about the way your soul is fractured? What about the way your heart has broken? What about you? And can you forgive the person that you once were? Can you see that person who made the bad decisions, who, or didn't make the bad decisions, was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, or born to the wrong person, or whatever it was, and say, I love you, and I will always love you, and being able to see the face of the person you once were, and saying, I'm here for you, and I stand with you. That's powerful stuff. And that's a relationship healed. That's a relationship made stronger. It's not a relationship with anybody else, but it's the relationship with the one person we will be with for all of existence, and that's ourselves. And that's a intense thing. Now it moves us to the Wheel of Fortune. Everything starts to change. Everything starts to change. We're entering into a new season. We're entering into a new time. We're entering into a new understanding. We're seeing ourselves more openly and more honestly. And this is going to be a time where we might be saying, well, I don't want to enter into a new season. I was perfectly happy in my spring, in my summer, or in my fall, or even in my winter. But now I get to move forward. Now I have to embrace a different set of abilities, a different kind of wardrobe, how I project myself forward spiritually, personally, powerfully, kind of like what clothes I wear to be able to acclimate to this season, to be able to understand where I stand now. So the Wheel of Fortune comes in and everything changes. The Wheel of Fortune comes in and we can feel like we're on a roller coaster ride. And we can feel like we're on a roller coaster ride during this time just because there's so many highs. And when we have the highs, we have to come down, right? We have to have either the drops or the lows or anything in between. And so we have the Chariot, which says, I rise above what I cannot see through. I rise above what has clouded my vision, what has kept me from seeing the way that I need to move forward. I move forward in love. I move forward in tenacity. I move forward in understanding of self. I move forward towards where I want to be, embracing my subconscious and conscious being, embracing all aspects of myself, my shadowed self, and the self that I want everybody to see. I embrace who I am, and I know the powerful warrior that I am. It moves us to opening to the stars. It moves us to opening to ourselves, the very essence of who we are, to our dreams and to our desires, to that moment where hope flies, where all of a sudden we feel like there's a chance. There's a chance that everything can change. There's a chance that beauty can open up. There's a chance that insight can drive us. There's a chance that we can be saved. And as we let that hope fly, that is where Aquarius lives. In that moment of hope's release. In that moment, not when we say, I give up, but in that moment when we say, I hope for a better world. And we say it with the absolute conviction of understanding there's more out there than we realize. There's more to us than we've ever known. And this is a time where we look at our wishes, we look at our dreams, we look at our desires, and divinity, the universe, looks at what our soul really wants, where our soul really wants to be, and says, I'm giving you what you need. Not necessarily what you want, but what you need. And it moves us in a direction that we could not have dreamed of. And it brings us to a place of greatness. It does, because it brings us to the magician, as above, so below. As you believe it, so it becomes. what we believe will happen. Will happen. And we might say, okay, that's a bunch of malarkey. We can't will things to be different. But we can change the way we see ourselves. We can change the way we hold ourselves and the energy that we project forward. We can raise our energy vibration. It's so important to say that I can walk forward in power and embrace my power. I can walk forward in understanding of self and embrace that understanding of self. There is more to me than meets the eye, and say that with confidence and competence. I stand before the altar of my existence. I call forward my elemental power. I call forward the being that I am, the being that I was, and the being that I one day will be. And I understand that the way I see myself, the way that I talk to myself in my own head, out loud, to others, changes and guides the way I move forward. So if I talk about myself in loving, kind terms, then those loving, kind terms move me forward. If I don't, if I let the negativity of others, the hurts of others, drag me down, then I will be dragged down. And I will not be embracing the royalty that is me. And so, as above, so below. As we believe it, so it becomes. And this is a time where we claim the magic. And people see us claiming the magic in our inner self. People will be looking at us and saying, not in our inner selves, because they're not looking inside us, but people will be looking at us and saying, Aquarius, there's something different about you. I don't know exactly what it is. It's going to be that I'm embracing the extraordinary. During this time, Aquarius, we embrace the extraordinary, and it leads us to the High Priestess. It leads us to having the veil lifted from our eyes, being able to see things openly and honestly for ourselves, for what we desire, and for where we want to be. This is a time where we're not going to hide behind anything. We're not going to be able to lie to ourselves. We're not going to take other people's lies. This is a time where we embrace our power, where we embrace our understanding, where we look at people and we see them truly, openly, and honestly. And we may not like what we see. So do be prepared. This is a time where we see in our inner selves our intuitive power, our psychic ability, our own sense of insight and intuition grows and grows. If we dare to listen, we can move forward in a way that brings us to what we love, that brings us to what we desire within our lives, that brings us to this place of, I want to hear everything. I want to know the different opinions. I want to understand the different paths walked. But I embrace what I love. I embrace where my heart lies. I embrace the openness and the power that is me. And it brings us to this place that makes us doubt. There is a doubt that comes in to our hearts that says, how can I live a life that I love? How can I embrace energy that moves me higher and higher into love, into understanding of self, into beauty of my existence? And that's where we gather up our energy. We gather up the knowledge that we need. We leave some things behind because we do not need them. And we start to see ourselves in a different way. We understand that not everything is going to be clear because the Seven of Swords has an element of sneakiness to it. We might not be open with everybody where our heart wants to be because it's a sacred journey for ourselves. And people might not be open with us, and that's okay. We move forward towards our goals and towards what we desire, and we embrace a bigger and better understanding of who we are and where we want to be. It brings us to the Hangman. We don't see things the same way anymore. And this is a time where we're not supposed to. This is a time where, if we embrace it correctly, we will walk out different than we walked in. This time will change us because it calls us to look at things more. It calls us to bring more to the table. It calls us to understand ourselves more. So we're starting to change the way that we see things. We're starting to understand things about ourselves that we didn't understand before. We're starting to see the world differently. And as we do so, as we do so, the first instinct is to think, wow, I'm wrong. But then the realization comes that I'm not wrong. I'm just different. And I can be different. I can embrace different. And that will be powerful. Because I am embracing me. It brings us then to the King of Pentacles, to our bounty and to our success and to our prosperity. It brings us to wealth and greater understanding, amplified on the 7th of September. Amplified as the full moon comes, the new moon comes into play. as we see ourselves, as we embrace what wealth is to us, as we embrace what bounty is to us, we nurture, we gain, we protect, and we understand. And it brings us then to the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is the warrior queen. This queen has more masculine energy in her than any of the other queens, meaning that when we look at her, there's a fierceness to her that can make people uncomfortable. That's why usually the Queen of Swords is used in a negative light, if people want to use the queens in a negative light. She's not negative. She is powerful, she is fierce, and she is determined. That is what we are during this time. And as we embrace this idea, as we embrace this understanding, as we open up this door, we start to see that we hold power to the way we react to our planetary alignment, the way we react to the blessings and the curses sent our way. And simply by saying blessings and curses, the good things that are spoken over us or that have been spoken over us, and the curses are the negative things that are spoken over us or have been spoken over us. And we let neither be our master. We let neither control us, but we see ourselves move forward in this great understanding of balance, insight, and determination. We cut through doubts, fears, and negativity. We see ourselves more openly, more truthfully, more forcefully. And we move forward in distinct determination of who we are, of where we want to be, and of what we are discovering. And during this time, it leads us to looking at, especially in the public arena, looking at the ways that we can be manipulated. The devil is Capricorn energy. Capricorn energy can be within our natal chart, but with it being represented by the devil, it is also represented simply by chaos, the way we react to chaos within our world, our coping mechanisms, but it can also be this force that are negative coping mechanisms towards the overwhelming. And so during this time, we're going to look at how we respond to chaos and how we respond to negative emotions that try to drag us down. I'm just going to take a sip of water, so do bear with me. As we break free, as we break free, we start to see what holds us back. So this can be traditional things, traditional addictions like drugs and alcohol. Everybody understands that. But we can also have our coping mechanisms of maybe becoming very regimented in our food. I can only eat this. I'm going to really count those calories. I'm going to make sure I do everything right, or I eat as clean as possible. And it just becomes an obsession. So we have to really be mindful of what goes from something that's beneficial to us or something that helps us gain control within a situation. And this could be exercising too. Oh, well, if I can burn this many calories, then I can burn this many calories, and then I can just keep going until we collapse. Or until we just feel like lightheaded and we don't feel well. So this is going to be a time where we look at these things, but we also look at maybe being addicted to anxiety, maybe being addicted to stress, to putting things off to the last minute, and then having to have this chaos around us. Maybe we're addicted to chaos. It's just looking at the things that we surround ourselves with to not have to fully disconnect. It's to disconnect. It's to have ourselves taken away from the path that we want to be on. And it can be a disconnect because of the chaos of the universe around us, just saying, you know what, I'm going to throw this ball your way and see how it happens, see what happens from it. This is a time where we're going to be looking at these things. We're going to be looking at these patterns in personality and saying, I'm not ruled by this. And this doesn't define me. I'm opening up the door to blessings now. And I'm using chaos for me. I'm finding this way to understand that I don't have the control that I would want in life because there are so many variables to existence that we can't, equate for. But I have this power within me to stand tall and firm within myself. And it brings us then to the power of the moon. So let's see here. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Fantastic. So here at our roots, we have step out of your comfort zone, which is what the planetary alignment is telling us. And then resistance. We step out of our comfort zone. And what we have been resisting, or what has seemed like such a struggle to be able to grow, to be able to come, we see that it starts to grow. We see that, it starts to become. That even if we've felt like we've been squashed down, we haven't had the power of us taken away. It moves us to our inner selves, which says, hold to your vision. Do not let fear overpower you. Do not let it take away, because that's what we have to really be mindful of during this time. We can get too much in our own heads. We can be our greatest ally, but we can also be our greatest enemy. And to be aware of that is something that is extraordinary. It brings us then to our emotional self. It says, be bold and make the first move. Focus. Focus on what it is that you want. Focus on the opening of the third eye, of the blessing of the moon as it fades out of being the full moon, but also knowing that the power of the full moon lasts really intensely for 2 weeks after it. So this is a time where we focus on what we want and what we desire, and we start to be bold. We start to take the steps forward and say, I can, and as I can in the public arena, it's time to take action. Realization. I realize that I am the key, that I walk through the keyhole, and I claim my world. I claim my dawn. I claim my days. I claim what I want to create and who I am. It brings us to our subconscious Luna message. A new romantic cycle begins. Will you take it? Will you embrace it? Do you have the will for it? It then brings us to our subconscious energy to be mindful of. The Queen of Swords, again being told to be mindful of ourselves. We can be our greatest ally, but again, we can be our greatest enemy. Do not let yourself talk yourself out of your dreams, Aquarius. This is a powerful, intense, amazing time for you. Embrace it. The Queen of Swords is also the negative words of others. Words mean a lot to air sign energies, thoughts, ideas, the way they are presented. That's everything to air sign energies. This is a time where we cannot let words corrupt us. Or lure us. Yeah, there's going to be the sense here of they can bring us down, bring us to baser energy vibrations, but they can also lure us to this place where their dreams are better than our dreams, which brings us to a lower energy vibration. It moves us then to our subconscious chakra message, soul's healing, soul star chakra, located 6 inches above the crown. This is a time where healing energy rains down on us. The soul starts to be healed. The soul continues to be healed. It moves us to our subconscious rooted energy, which is strength, Leo energy, a sense of power, strength, determination, focus, insight, understanding. It's not the brute force strength. It's not muscle strength. It is the strength of the heart, the strength of the soul, the strength of the being of kindness. It moves us to our subconscious inner self, which is the Four of Wands. I mean, this is just an extraordinary reading. The Four of Wands, when we have the Star, the Magician, and the High Priestess. This is marriage. This is marriage to our ideas, marriage to our dreams, marriage to our joys. This is a sense of celebration, joy, success, prosperity, bounty, new opportunities, new business opportunities, new romantic opportunities. This is saying, this could be moving house. This is saying, go for it and embrace. Dance. Let yourself dance and laugh and be silly and embrace joy. It brings us to our subconscious. And the Luna message that was over here, the extra one, is the full moon in Pisces, which is the new moon in Pisces, which plays off of the full moon in Pisces energy on the 20th of September. Meditate and contemplate. We need to balance ourselves to open up the door. It brings us to our subconscious emotional self, which is the Five of Pentacles. Subconsciously, we have to break the poverty mentality, the sense that I'm not worthy, because this time and all times in our subsequent future, we are worthy of wealth, prosperity, bounty, and abundance. This poverty mentality can come from our caregivers. It can come from lovers that we had that, didn't believe in our success or had issues with money themselves, then gave us their issues with money. So this is a time where it's like, you know what? I'm done with it. I'm done with all this negativity. And why I gave like this little like laughing kind of rolling of the eyes, which if you could see my face, just rolled my eyes when it's in like it's getting that from a lover, is because sometimes we take on so much more, especially as Aquarians, so much more than we thought we were taking on. And so here, when we face the poverty of happiness, the poverty of financial wealth, the poverty of success, we could have gotten it from another person. It's like we took on somebody else's negative chaos. And we thought, I can fix this. But instead of fixing it, because they didn't want it to be fixed, we got pulled down in the whirlwind, in the, cyclone of it. And it brings us to our subconscious public self, which is the Ace of Swords. And we have the Queen of Swords right there. We take this gift of knowledge, insight, understanding, and wisdom from the universe, from divinity, and it opens up the doors. It opens up our eyes. It brings us forward in a way that we just could not imagine. It's being able to hold the sword of truth and of power and of beauty for ourselves. The power of our words, the power of our mind, to be able to say, this is me. This is what I want. This is what I desire. And this is what I need. And there is nothing that is going to hold me back. I cut through my doubts and my fears and my chaos. And I live now in the beauty of truth, determination, love, respect, and power of self. And power of connection. All right, Aquarius. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. I am sending loving, healing energy to each and every one of you. I love you all, and stay safe. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy as we embrace the absolute beautiful power of this moon. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius, and may you have a blessed moon.